Test, 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 test. Okay, so, and then let's, let's see. I put my laptop out there.
What's that?
Oh, I thought you were Julia.
I want to go grab stuff on it. Okay? Knock that on.
Share screen. Test, test, test. Yep. Awesome.
I'm just waiting.
Look at this. This is what it looks like on Facebook Live. Take a look. It's a 10-second delay, but that's Facebook Live.
Okay.
Actually,
waiting for the link to pop up.
Actually, you'll be there in like 4 or 5 seconds. Hold on, watch.
Oh, it's delayed.
So about 10 seconds or so. Ooh. Okay.
No, it's okay, muted.
Make sure I'm working. Hold on. Shoot.
Door open.
Hold on. Shoot. I just hit the wrong thing. I screwed it up here a second. Hold on. Title. It's waiting, I know. I'm coming in a second. I'm going to go in now. Here we go. Start on Facebook first. Going live. Okay, so everyone watching here, let me go broadcast. Okay, welcome everybody. Very excited to be here. Today we're giving the first of 4 webinars we're giving over the next couple days. They'll be very educational. I hope you enjoy it. What I'm going to do today, from last time, I remember this, one of the things we had to do was make sure that we had people watching and that I was sharing the screen. So I'm going to do that first here. I'm going to share the screen. And okay, so share screen. And here's the presentation. Wonderful. So this is working. You should be able to see me and the presentation at the same time. So you can write comments on the webinar. If you have questions, you can give questions to us here. But we're going to start here with the, one second here. We're going to go here and, okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start with our webinar. This is going to be the idea of Sculptra and how we can use Sculptra to help restore the thing known as the volume of youth. So let's start. Click here. There we go. First thing, I want to send a thank you out to the first responders, the doctors, nurses, the staff in hospitals. I was seeing emergency patients yesterday. The politicians for passing the stimulus bill, thank you so much. The essential workers, we don't think about it as people working at the supermarkets, the delivery people, right? They're helping us survive these times. I'm very, very thankful to them. And you for staying at home to help flatten the curve. These are historic and difficult times, but this too will pass and we'll get through this together, okay? Okay, and also, I want to make a special offer. People watching today, there'll be a $200 credit toward any future Sculptra treatment at the office with a special promo code we're going to show you at the end of the presentation, okay? So watch and there'll be a code at the end of the presentation. I'm going to start just with a little bit of intro about aesthetics, and I've talked about this before, but I think it's good for people who've maybe not seen this webinar before. Aesthetic surgery, diagnosing and healing the miscues of human facial expression. The face is really an organ for communication, okay? We use it to communicate with one another. The interpretation of facial messages is innate, okay? Sometimes through birth or sometimes with age, our faces can change in ways that create messages that are not consistent with the way that we feel inside. So you might look like you're angry when you're not angry. You might look like you're tired when you're not tired. So I think most of surgery is not vanity. It's not people looking in a mirror thinking about how great they look, or it's really about realigning these messages, okay, so that we have messages that we're sending out are congruent with the way that we feel inside. Nancy Etcoff is a PhD from Harvard. She wrote a book called Survival of the Prettiest, The Science of Beauty. And she analyzed beauty through history. And It was known even back in ancient times when Aristotle was asked why people desire physical beauty. He said, no one who is not blind could ask that question. And from a practical basis, we routinely evaluate one another on basis of attractiveness. So they've seen this actually in nurseries when nurses pick up the cuter babies more, they get more attention. And I think this is true when we find someone attractive for some reason. We want to please them with no expectation of immediate reward or reciprocal gestures. So the characteristic of an attractive human face is it. We've always called, heard this called the eye of the beholder, right? The eye of the beholder. Well, that is one thing, but there's another level of attractiveness I want to talk about. And this goes into why Sculptra and these ratios are so important about Sculptra. And this is mathematical beauty, okay? There's a picture there of me in Pisa. I'll talk about this. Leonardo Fibonacci was actually born in the 1200s in Pisa, Italy. Italy was not Italy, it was these city-states back then. So he grew up in Pisa. He grew up in an upper middle-class family. He had the money to go overseas. He was a mathematician, to go over to learn math concepts from India and Asia. He came back and put together a book called Libera Bacci. And he put together analysis of things. He was actually analyzing the multiplication of rabbits, okay? And he came up with the sequence of the following: 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89. And what you do to get the sequence is you take the first number of the sequence, you add to the next number, you get the next number of the sequence. So 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, and so on. When you divide these numbers by each other, it comes up with the ratio of 1 to 1.618. They call this the golden ratio because when they looked in nature, a lot of things in nature had this ratio. The internal parts of a flower compared to the external parts of a flower had this ratio of 1 to 1.618. What it turns out with numerical sequences, you can find curves, and there's the curve in red around that triangle. And they noticed that curve matched the curve of a nautilus or the helix of the ear. So they thought this was a divinely inspired ratio. And they did a lot of painting and architecture using this ratio. So Mona Lisa's face has a lot of these ratios of 1 to 1.618. Same with the Notre Dame, the Parthenon, Last Supper. You can define faces this way according to these ratios, and they have. And they've actually done research, and the more a face has in balance with these ratios, the more attractive this face is seen. I'm going to prove this to you in a little bit here. The second part of beauty is really subjective beauty, icons, right? This is the eye of the beholder. And so this media has this roving eye and shows us what it deems to be attractive, and we're influenced by that, actually. So we look at Julia Roberts, classic female beauty, a large, smooth forehead going down to a smaller nose. Because her nose is smaller, her eyes seem farther apart. She has a gold-wing shape to her eyebrow and a smooth jawline and a plump vermilion border to the lips. Brad Pitt has a more horizontal brow. His nose is bigger. His eyes seem farther apart. He has a more square jaw as opposed to a woman. And here, now it's too bad they broke up, but I do like this slide demonstration. Here we have Angelina Jolie, an arch brow, right? Brad Pitt has a straight across brow. Her nose is smaller, her eyes seem farther apart. His nose is bigger, it seems closer together. She has a more tapered jaw, he has a more square jaw. So this is a series of from a study, and they were looking at pictures of individuals, and they showed this picture, and they showed the picture on the left and picture right. And I will have you in your own mind, okay, or if you can comment here on the webinar, you can. The picture on the left, okay, who does that look like? Does that look like more of a man or a woman? So the picture on the left versus the picture on the right. Which one's the man, which one's the woman, right? And it shouldn't take too long. I think you should see it pretty instantly. You'll say probably that the left picture looks like the woman, right? And the right picture looks like the man. And interestingly, you have to say, I'm going to ask you why you're saying that, because it's a picture of the same person. Interesting, right? You're surprised to hear that. It's a picture of the same person. What they did, though, is they digitally darkened the eye region and the mouth region on the picture on the left. And that, in our subconscious brain, helps us interpret a face as more feminine. Men, we have more one color in general. Women have more contrast to their faces. It's one of the ways that we interpret male or female differences. And I'm going to talk about this in terms of Sculptra too here in a little bit. So here's Jessica Biel, and with makeup that, women know, they know this, they take advantage of this. She's wearing eye makeup and lip makeup, and it makes her look more feminine. The eyes are the window to the soul, and we tend to look at the eyes and the mouth region a lot, and the face, skin, and the facial contour second. Our central face, there was a study done looking at the face and what's the most important part of the face. And it turns out when you look at the face, the most important part of the face is the central face, the eyes and the mouth. And if we take this part of our previous president and we put this on someone else, your brain should still be able to interpret that that face to a certain degree, that's Barack Obama. And I'm sure you know who this is actually. This is actually Brad Pitt, right? So there was a quote that a woman made, Jenny Lee Curtis, she's an actress. She said, the first thing I look at a woman is her soul, and then I check her eyebrows. And here is a woman, and she was seen as very stern. And if you can see in the next picture here, the way it looks, she actually has part of her brow has that arch to it. And that arch, okay, is congruent with that arch of Fibonacci's ratio. And so we see her as more open or approachable in the picture on the right as compared to the picture on the left. And this is Fibonacci's ratio, or the golden ratio, coming into place. So there is a mathematical basis to ratio that we're all influenced by. So the more male brow versus the female brow, the males have a more straight across brow. That's Brad Pitt. Rob Lowe back in the day was creating a more arched brow, gave a more androgynous look, but that's the more classic female brow. So we are very, very social beings, and we constantly evaluate each other for communication cues. And our faces are a big factor in nonverbal communication with others. When we speak, it's estimated that 7% is what I'm doing right now. What I'm saying is 7% of what you're hearing. 38% is my verbal tone, and 55% is nonverbal communication, facial cues, body cues, and such. New research, as well as high-profile lawsuits alleging appearance-based discrimination, is raising new awareness on how looks hurt or help careers. And they did analysis. Even now, we're talking about the Federal Reserve is trying to help the whole country, right? Well, they did analysis at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, and I thought they did monetary policy there, and they do, but they also do research, and they're looking at the link between appearance and wages. And they looked at someone with an average appearance, and they compared it with someone with a below average appearance, and someone with a below average appearance earned 9% less. Compared to an average appearance, people with an above average appearance earned about 5% more. And looking at this together, there's about a 14% swing. It's something I think that we really felt intuitively, but there's some real research behind this. When we view each other, we kind of look at the eye and mouth first, and the facial skin and facial contours second. Now, and that's where Sculptra comes in here. Our subconscious brain then tells our conscious brain how we feel about what we saw in those areas. Aging changes around the eyes, skin, and the facial contours create an impression of being tired, sick, and less vibrant. This is a woman, she worked at Disney, a great patient of mine. She got different roles at Disney because she looks mad or sad, right? Do you see that? And she's not. She's incredibly vibrant. I helped her later. So improvement made to our eyelid region, skin, mouth can have positive effects on the way people perceive us. So makeup to the skin, eyes, lips, wearing fine glasses, take advantage of these two powerful areas for nonverbal communication. But, okay, volume, we can't get back, unfortunately. That's where people come to see me. So with age, makeup and glasses are not enough. If we use volume, people come to me for help with my expertise. We're going to get into this. Okay, here, let's go into Sculptra. So there are 3 Ds of aging. There's deterioration of the skin, deflation of the face, and descent of the eyelids and face. And once again, at the very end, if you come to the end, there'll be a $200 offer for people watching this webinar if you watch the special code that I'll show at the end of the webinar. So stay tuned here. So in youth, okay, we have this wonderful, we call it the triangle of youth, right? We have this beautiful volume in the upper face, and it tapers down into the lower face. Now, as we get older, though, okay, we don't always hold on to this. Here's Rita Hayworth. Over time, our faces lose that triangle of youth and become more boxy or more square. Here's Cicely Tyson showing the same thing, a more square face. It's like our faces have an inflated beach ball. And then over time, we'll actually deflate the beach ball. That'll happen. We lose facial volume. And here's a picture of a tulip. And the tulip is sitting upright in the picture on the left. Now, what happens on the right? Why is it drooping? You know, some people say, well, gravity is acting on it. Well, you know, I'll tell you guys, gravity doesn't change. Gravity is always the same, okay? So gravity is not acting more. What happened, it lost something. Do you know what it lost? I'm going to tell you, it lost its water. It's lost its volume, okay? The cells of the plant lost its ability to hold water, and that is why it's drooping. It's lost its volume. Our faces are kind of the same way. We have our youthful face, and with age, we lose facial volume, and we see things descend, okay? So here's a study that was done. They were looking at 6 photos of a picture. They digitized this, and they asked people what they thought were the best photos, and they digitally changed this each time to be more congruent with the ratios of the face. And I'm showing you in a different way here, so it shows you the answer at the bottom. But most people picked 5 and 6. Those are the photos that they saw as the best photos. So the 3 Ds of aging. Volume, Sculptra, okay, this descent. So deflation affects descent. So we can reinflate the face, and we can actually cause changes to the face and the eyelids that way. Sculptra is subtle collagen restoration, polylactic acid, okay? It's a biodegradable lactic acid polymer. For decades, we've been using this suture material called Vicryl. Okay, it's a suture that we use deep in the skin. And what we found out is that we put this deep in the skin, the body would build collagen around it, made the skin stronger so that we could take the surface sutures out sooner. It stimulates epidermal thickening and neocollagenesis. Initially, when people were doing this, they concentrated too much, and we had lots of bunches of collagen called nodules. We don't do that anymore, but if you look it up, that's what has happened in the past. It's not a quick fix. It's not an overnight miracle. It replaces the lost collagen, giving a natural look appearance without giving it away. It's a series of treatments over about 2 to 3 months, 2 to 3 over a few months, sorry. And the natural collagen builds after each treatment and can last 2 to 5 years. And I call it looking better gradually. I have people who are newscasters who I do this for in my area, evening newscasters. And I like this because they can just get this done the weekend. And when they go back, I'm going to talk about this, it goes away in about a day or 2 and then builds back over time. So they look more natural that way. So here's the skin. We see all the collagen fibrils there. This is younger skin, and we have nice fat pads there, okay? As we get older, we have decreased fat, and we have wrinkles appear in the skin that decrease collagen. Okay, it's the appearance of aging face. So Sculptra is collagen stimulated. It replaces lost collagen, restores the natural fullness of youth. There's no allergy testing, doesn't contain any human, animal, or bacterial components. It's naturally absorbed by the body. I was asked by this book that I have on Amazon called The True Definition of Beauty. The New York Post had me evaluate the candidates for mayor, 2 mayor's races away, for their nonverbal communication. And in these cases, I was looking at facial ratios amongst other things. And here's Anthony Weiner back in the day. He has a more big jaw from chewing. He has that bulge in his jawline. That changes the facial balance. And John Castamedas had more fullness in his jawline. So I actually evaluated faces. I created a fake after picture, and they featured it in the New York Post. I didn't realize everyone who read that, but Howard Stern saw that. And his people called to my people, and he had me on there. So let's listen to Howard Stern.
Well, it says here, Howard needs nothing. He's so handsome. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Fred. Let's see. Loss of facial volume. Like Fred, you need to fill in all those heavy. I have those huge lines.
I know. You always talk
Howard,
about them, but
I mean, honestly, it's a real loss of volume. Howard, for you, what I was saying, really, the eye and the mouth. So the eye area, I was saying, if you could, it would be surgery, okay? But if you could do surgery for the eyelids, I do that stuff with lasers.
the eyelids?
The upper eyelids. And then if we could add volume back to the lower face, there's actually a product. This isn't surgery, mind you. There's a product called Sculptra. And what it is a product we use as a facial filler. It takes a while to work, but once it's set up, it lasts years. You would be a great candidate for that, Howard, because if you could add volume to that area, you look at your after, it really, I mean, you look like you, but it's just,
I look like gorgeous.
You look like a softer you.
I look a better me. Now, Doc, is any of this stuff, when I hear women are injecting rat poison into their face, and you know, that's basically what I don't get, like, I'm not doing anything. I mean, what's the difference at this point? I'm a mess. You know what I mean? But
you know, it's just personal. It's something you want to do. I'm just saying there are options for people if they want to do these things.
You're saying you get rid of all that shit on my face like that in the after picture? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, really the volume. Yeah, if you had the volume is the most powerful thing for you.
Volume. In other words, what do you stick in my face to give me volume?
There's a product called Sculptra, and what it is there's a suture material that we use in surgery that makes collagen, and they take advantage of this, and they make it into little tiny bits. They put it in the face, and then the body will build its own collagen around these products.
Really?
Yeah,
How long does that take?
It takes about an hour to do. What happens actually, I have newscasters who I do this for in my area on the evening news, and I like this because you look better gradually. What happens is you get the result. It goes down. You get a view of what it looks like. It goes down in about 2 days because the water resorbs, and then the particles that are left over about 8 weeks, the body responds to and builds collagen all over the place.
Wow.
And so each week you get better and look better and better and better. And
Imagine how gorgeous I'd be. I'm a 10.
And then when does it start to go bad again?
Oh,
So it's
yeah,
like
You know what it's like? It's like
Charlie.
like he was retarded, and then in the book Flowers for Algernon, he becomes a genius, and then he slowly starts becoming retarded again. And that's the bitch.
Hey, Howard,
I got to admit, Dr. Shiner's after picture does look way better on me, but you know, hey, I don't know. Then you got to go do all this stuff. Dr. Shiner, give yourself a plug here, or I'll give it to you. For more information on Dr. Adam Shiner's practice, go to adamshinermd.com. Hey, thanks, Dr. Shiner.
hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank
Pleasure.
You.
Bye bye.
Take care.
A lot to
Well,
consider.
now we know there's something we can do.
I thought it was hopeless.
I would say, without a doubt, 100% of the people in Hollywood have something going on.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But you
well,
know
that's how
what?
they stay
There's
looking
too-
good.
There's too much at stake.
Yeah.
They're at the big game. They don't
Absolutely.
wanna leave. That's the same thing. It's like baseball players do steroids. Those people do Botox.
Well, maybe we got to go visit Dr. Shiner. That's what you're saying.
Okay, back to our thing. So this is actually a picture. Take a look at this slide. This is what I was recommending, Sculptra. Do you see how he's deflated in the cheek area, okay, and around the jawline? You see when I add volume back, when we can add volume, he looks like a much younger version of himself. That's what Sculptra can do. This is an example. Here's another example. This is looking at a jawline. This is you can see when we have the jowls, we can actually use fillers like Sculptra to straighten the jawline. Okay, so it doesn't look like she has a jowl anymore. This woman, Peggy, she said that she felt that was her older bitchy face. She said that everyone thought she was angry all the time, but by adding volume to the face, especially around the mouth, you see how we brought the corners up, and all of a sudden she doesn't look as mad anymore. She looks more approachable. That's the power of volume. Now, this is what people are afraid of. They're afraid of volume that in the wrong place, right? So around the cheeks, it doesn't. So here's Courtney Love, and she had fullness in the lower cheeks. That's more what a man would have. Not women have more cheeks that are more high up. So this was wrong for her. Here we have Paris Hilton and Jessica Simpson, and here we have lips that are out of control. So what's the approximate age of this woman? How much older does she look here about to you? I hear people commenting. Okay, yeah, 10 years, 15 years. I agree. Turns out that actually this was her when she first started seeing me, and then 3 years later, she still had that volume. And so we're getting her looking better over time as we're adding volume back to the face. So Sculptra is really nice because we can add volume to the entire face. Sometimes we'll add it just to the mouth area, but sometimes, like in this case, this woman had her lips treated and the cheeks treated, but it looks strange, doesn't it? Somehow when you look at this, your brain says, okay, I have this young cheek, young lips, but on this older kind of male-looking face, it looks strange because her temples are very hollow and because the hollow underneath her cheekbone is so severe. So that's what this one was going to someone, and she kept saying, I want more cheeks, I want more lips, and it just doesn't look right. That's where Sculptra comes into place. Okay, Sculptra, we can take volumes, look at this patient around her temples and her cheeks, and we can add volume, giving her a much softer, younger appearance. Here's another example of the temples. This is subtle, mind you, but you can see that there are the temples and the cheeks and around the mouth. You can do this on the entire face. This woman, she actually said that she was missing volumes in the temple area. And she said when she was younger, she used to have that, and she was in her 50s, and now she looks like she's in her 30s. And this is the power of Sculptra, right? This is an amazing photo series against each other. Here's another patient showing the same thing, sort of that wasting of the volume in the cheek area, in the temples. And we add that volume of youth that brings that back. This woman has decent volume, but and she just had surgery. That's why she has the stitches in. But you can see how the temples, when that comes back, the temples and the areas around the face, how we bring back that volume, it's a much more harmonious. That's more in line with those golden ratios I was talking about. That's what we think about when we're doing this. This woman exercised a lot. She was losing tons of volume. It's almost like her skin hanging off her skeleton. And we added volume. Look at those sheets of collagen she has in her face, how much more youthful she looks. Here's another example of this woman as well, a big exerciser, and injecting the temples and the cheeks and the areas around the mouth. We do it for men too. He had a lot of wasting away of volume in the cheek region and the temples, but look, when that's added back, how much more masculine, how much of a vital he seems. Here's another one. This woman also the same thing in the cheeks, that loss of volume, that divot she has, especially on that left cheek or on the slide right, and how we're able to fill that in. Here's another example, very subtle, right? But she looks much more youthful now with this volume in the face. Here's another one. This woman's a little bit older, and the same thing, adding volume to the cheeks and the temple area. And here's another one showing it. This is a beautiful woman, but adding the volume back just makes her look much more youthful. Even when people are beautiful, I can make them look even better. Here's the one or two final ones here, showing Sculptra for the temples and the cheeks and how it restores that volume of youth. And here's a more amazing one. This woman was a big exerciser. When we did volume on her, she was able to restore volume. She had some surgery for the lower lids. So this was before we did, that's the before and after we did that. But the volume is so powerful for her. So I hope you found this very interesting. You enjoyed this presentation. We're going to have another webinar tomorrow with Julia and Ali talking about skincare tips. It's at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. There'll be some offers there too. Every day we're doing one. We're doing another one on Thursday on reversing sun damage, another one on Friday on halo. So so let me go down here. Let me finish here. So I want to thank you for your attention. We're having a $200 credit toward any future Sculptra treatment at our office, okay? Use the promo code Sculptra2020 to receive your credit. Write that down, okay? You want to click the link in the webinar. I'm going to put it in the Facebook page here. Hold on a second. And we'll put it in the webinar too. Give me a moment here so that people can just copy it. Okay, copy. Okay, it's in the Facebook page now, and I'll put it on the webinar as a chat here in a moment. And I want to thank you guys again, first responders, doctors, nurses, and staff in the hospitals, the politicians for passing the stimulus package, the essential workers helping us survive these times, and you for staying home to flatten the curve. Once again, these are historic and difficult times, but this will pass and we'll get through this together. Once again, that's the credit Sculptra 2020, okay? I'm going to put the link in the webinar here in a moment here too. And I want to thank everyone for your attention. Let me stop sharing the screen here. Share, okay, great. And we put it in the chat here. Can I chat here? Q&A. I'm learning how to do this also, actually. Okay, I'm going to put it in the, let's see here. I can put it here. I'm seeing if I can. Q&A more. Nope, I guess I can't do that right now, but I'm trying here. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. This was awesome. Tune in tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Julia and Ali. She's going to be on. And then there'll be other webinars on Thursday. I'm doing one on reversing sun damage. And on Friday, we have Julia coming up, and she's going to be talking about halo. So thank you for watching, everyone. Stay safe, and bye for now.